out here on this beautiful day trying to overlook the pollen that is everywhere on our back porch. This is Nick Murray. He's with CertaPro here in Chattanooga. The pollen doesn't bother you so much because when you go to people's houses, if you're doing an outside paint job, you just pressure wash everything and blow it right away.
Yeah, so that's step one always, is to pressure wash. Any exterior, we always go in and pressure wash first. Get rid of dirt, mildew, pollen, of course. Like we call it dull, dry, and clean. That's kind of the three things we look for before we start applying any kind of paint.
You know, there are some mysteries in life, Nick. One of them is what happens to the sock and the dryer, right? Why do you never dry your clothes and get both socks out, just one?
I haven't figured that one out yet.
The other question is, what is it that skilled professional painters know that the average Joe does not? You can walk into a room and you can tell when it's been professionally painted and when it's been a DIY project.
Well, usually I have seen some DIY projects and I've learned the hard way not to say anything because you never know who actually painted it. It might be the homeowner you're talking to.
Right.
I've made that mistake. But really it's the details. As you can imagine, when you do something 10 hours a day for 10 years straight, you get pretty darn good at it. And we have professional painters on staff that pay attention to the details. And I tell folks it's all about the prep work. So patching any nail holes, drywall imperfections, doing any kind of caulking, and getting things set up the right way so that when the job's finished, the little details that you do in the prep makes all the difference.
Well, and if you've ever done any bit of research, the internet's a great thing because you can sit on your kitchen in your kitchen and research all day long about things, but remembering what you're reading, knowing how to trust what advice you get from this source versus that source, it can take your day away before you know it. Like you mentioned, your painters are doing it 10 hours a day.
Oh yeah, we've seen
it
all.
For years. You hands-on know what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, and we get that. Of course, the internet, it provides a lot of information, but you can't put a value on experience. And when you see certain things when you go into homes, no matter what you find on Google, might be right, might be wrong, but we're here. We've been doing it for 25 years. We've learned a few things here in 25 years to where we're always steering our customers in the right direction.
Okay, not to get too commercial with it, but you really like using Sherwin-Williams paint. Right?
We do. So Sherwin-Williams is a good partner with us, all the way from our local here in Chattanooga, nationally. We're one of their biggest accounts. Helps us for pricing, keep our prices down to customers as well. And they always have our back for making sure we spec products the right way and stuff like that.
But then as the customer, you know, when you're choosing, if you wanted to paint your living room a light green, well, good luck, because there are all different versions of light green.
Oh yeah, I always joke with folks about off-whites. They're like, hey, I'll paint it white. And I'm like, well, bad news, there's about 1,000 whites, so I don't want the liability there. You let me know what white you want, but that kind of thing.
Well, but you might not know what white you want. So when you go into the Sherwin-Williams store, they have color consultations that you can take advantage of to try to figure out and pinpoint what it is that you're looking for. And the monochrome look, in houses, the flow of color has become so important, but the lighting is sometimes different in one room to another, so you need a different hue of the same idea depending on the room.
Yeah, absolutely. And our residential sales folks and our commercial sales folks are well trained on that as well. We go into thousands of homes. We've seen it all. We know we're up to date with the trends to where we can steer folks in the right directions of asking them a few questions of saying, hey, do you want a warmer tone to it or a cooler tone to it, and kind of steer them of saying, hey, you probably want to look at these 5 off-whites or light greens or what have you. In addition to our own kind of efforts, we can also point them to the Sherwin-Williams stores as well to bring photos in and see what they think as well.
You are doing exterior work as well, so the pollen is not a problem for you?
The pollen's not a problem. We do the pressure wash first. So a standard exterior, just to walk you through, it would be, hey, you go in, you pressure wash, you go around, do any kind of caulking that needs to be done to the home, tape off windows, and you start painting the very next day, if not later in that afternoon. So it doesn't give the pollen enough chance to build up again on you.
Choosing the finish of the paint, a minute or so left. Satin versus flat versus eggshell versus...
Oh, there's a whole bunch of them out there, just enough to confuse folks. But kind of the simple answer is flat. Does a better job of hiding imperfections. Doesn't have any kind of sheen to where you get that true color. Whereas a satin or an eggshell has a little bit of a sheen or shine to it that helps with durability and keeping off dirt and mildew, or if you have some kiddos or dogs walking around the house, you have eggshell or satin, that helps with durability so you don't have to paint so often.
So in your child's playroom, you want an eggshell or a satin so that you can wipe down those walls?
Yes, exactly. Now, I'm not sure if anything will hold up to a child's playroom. Depends on your child, I guess, but your best bet, yes, would be an eggshell or satin to try to hold up for the kiddos.
When folks call you, are you doing in-home consultations, virtual? How are y'all working it?
We do both. Most are in-home. We want to see it in person to see what level of prep needs to be done and that kind of thing. But we do virtual consultations as well for folks that aren't comfortable with in-home currently. It gives them an opportunity to at least give them an idea of what kind of budget they'll be looking at.
As a paint taper myself on my DIY projects that I've done, the blue tape that has to go around, I will always be in awe of your guys who can just finally get underneath that molding.
Yeah, sometimes I just stand there and watch like, man, it looks like they can cut a line with their eyes closed perfectly straight. But that's what happens when you do something for 10 years, 10 hours a day.
Leonardo da Vinci ain't got nothing on you.
That's
All
right.
right, thank you so much. Nick Murray at CertaPro. Here's the contact information where you can give them a call and get your house looking beautiful for spring.